Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. SeKo Starcraft here, bringing you a super long, so I'm speeding it up, ZVT Starbuck versus MMA on Habitation Station. Long games on Habitation Station are always fantastic, particularly if you got a Terran and you got a Zerg. So MMA, the drop master, and Starbuck. I've casted a few Starbuck games here. I'm interested to kind of see if there's any funkiness he decides to bring into this here. I'm expecting a Reaper opening. That's just because everybody likes the Reaper openings and they're so reliable. Though every now and then, you just get a little funkiness. No, he looks like he'll be a CC first. Ooh. And our Zerg player is going to go for a hatch first. And probably get a pool soon after that. If he had known otherwise that this was going down, a command center, he may be inclined to throw down maybe a gold base. Overlord will come in and actually see timing of that barracks, so we might see him move out here pretty soon. He's actually starting a gas, so maybe we're going to see a bit of a punish here. Well, it's nice to go for a bit of a punish. Who knows? We'll try it out. Slow it back down here. Boy, it does slow him back down. There's no action right now. Just gas being mined and buildings being made. A couple of Zerglings and a couple of Queens. We'll follow up with a simple bunker and Marines coming down here. And it'll be just hunky-dory. The fact that we haven't seen a third hatch come down in response to this tells me that I gotta expect some sort of pressure. There's the Roach Ward. Almost a guarantee. It's a Sean guarantee. You can take it to the bank. Either that or, you know, the opponent's playing bad. I mean, the responses to somebody going that greedy is usually to play greedy or to punish. So the fact they still on two hatches here, which I don't know if the Terran player is really scouted at all. Slow it down. Let's take a look at vision. No, the Terran player hasn't scouted a lick. So he has no idea his opponent could have taken both gold bases by now, and he wouldn't know. That'd be so cool, wouldn't it? Even the third CC here. Maybe he's a Banshee? Yes, and will be a Banshee Hellion follow-up here. There's already roaches on the way. That Banshee's going to be a long ways off. Quite a few roaches. Going to be chugging along. Just Hellions being made. Looks like he wants to split it up to disguise the numbers here. I don't know if the Hellion spotted it. I don't think he knows what's up just yet. Oh, there he goes. Now he knows what's up. So we see widowmines on the way. We don't have any other bunkers because there's not really any other bio units. There's a bunker. There's nothing that's going to be able to really go in there unless this one, you know, exits and goes that way. We do have another command center finished, and he'll start making it into an orbital immediately. Widowmines on the way. That Banshee, though, should be starting. Trying to focus down some of the SCVs in the back. Behind this, he's droning up. Widowmine's about to go down. He's already got a lot of the SCVs that are repairing here. Pretty good Widowmine dodging. So these roaches will be cleaned up. Now, MMA doesn't know what's coming next, if it was going to be more roaches or not. But him pushing out like this must obviously feel pretty confident that that's not going to be the case. We do have another base started with creep there. If we look at the units, up by 10 workers. Killed 16 workers in that play. And is essentially going into the next stages of his macro. One Banshee is done. There's no cloak that was finished. So that was pretty good. I don't know if he knows that there's a Banshee on the way, but there's no cloak, so the Queens should be able to deal with it. Handful of units out to deal with any type of Hellion harass and run-bys. At this point, the Terran player is kind of in recovery mode, but with 3 command centers finished, I don't think he's got too much to worry about. I was just checking if there is... No, the Banshee hasn't made it across. He's just using it for defense at home right now. Mech! Alright. Love me some Mech. Which is generally the response when you see somebody going roach. But that roach, I think, was more of just a pressure thing. Well, we have +1 attack. So we might be sticking with that ranged composition here. Would like to see a creep tumor in the main. This map's so good for drops. So good. Some Hellions bouncing around. Whoa. Good timing on getting down that hatch, but it might actually get shot down before it can finish. No, we'll get chased away by a handful of roaches here. So why not? You're Starbuck, you've got yourself a little bit of a lead when you kind of went in there, you know, balls to the wall. Not a huge economy lead right now. 3 command centers obviously does good work. We did have a Viking running around shooting overlords in the face. Spire as well. So we got everything coming out here from Starbuck when it comes to his tech. Circling speed, ranged attack, and Spire. Why not? Neither player seems to want to go after any type of gold bases. And right now we just see a huge economy pumping out of Starbuck. So he's falling behind a little bit in supply, but he's getting out his upgrades, getting himself into a good position. I like the overlords out on the map in good spot. Double Viking, actually. Sexy. We'll get pushed away. How many kills these guys got already? 2 kills? 0 kills? We'll come around this way and look for these overlords. Might pick off a few more. This looks like there's 2 on their path. Good chunk of Hellions. Blue Flame is about to finish up. We'll see if we can get in some sick damage. This is enough Hellions to run by and kill a lot of stuff. The roaches are not in position. He should see this and he should be a little worried. The creep should reveal these Hellions here. There we go. Roaches are going to come back. The fact that he saw a blue flame finished should give him a little bit of concern. You can lose an entire mineral line really fast. Good control there from Starbuck, moving close enough to make sure he gets some damage in. Banshee will come here and ward stuff away. Big pile of Muta is about to pop, and I don't know if the Terran player is ready for this. Did our Zerg player scout Mech? I believe he did, so sometimes you get lucky. Mutas that come out in a great spot like that can sometimes get in a lot of damage. Zerglings get fried for no good reason. That's, you know, that's how they do stuff. We don't have any missile turrets in production. We don't have any Thors on the way. There's our missile turrets. Okay, there's the Mutas. We'll say, where are all of our Muta friends? Might just be able to stop that. No, and running into the mineral line I don't mind too much either. What he really wants to do is kill workers at this point. Get in that guaranteed damage, and he's going to get a lot. There's nothing here. Couple of Vikings and 4 Marines. They will actually go to the bunker. This has actually been played very smoothly so far. We actually have a lot of Vikings being made right now. Not that Vikings are necessarily very good at dealing with mutas. Not necessarily cost effective at dealing with mutas. But let's look at what the actual kill count is now. 42 workers killed. Our Zerg player is almost up 3 times the level of economy. These mutas are probably all going to die off. Yeah. Ooh, is this a Hellbat drop, or did he get Hellbat Morph? No, he didn't get Hellbat Morph. Must have been a drop. I don't see too many people using the Hellbat Hellion Morph very often. Pretty funny when they do. 4 SCVs at a time right now. MMA's going to try and pull himself back into this. He's not that far back in supply, but when your opponent is up to, 83 workers to your less than 40, not in the best spot. We have 2-2 about to finish up, including a Hydralisk range. We have a 2-1 kind of on the way here for our Terran player. So he's behind in upgrades, behind in economy, but he's got a pretty sick composition here. So he's going to have to try and get some damage in. Seeing this, I'm kind of surprised we haven't seen Swarm Hosts, some sort of siege weapon to deal with this. Vipers is not a bad pull either. I like that. Blinding Clouds, but with all the air control in position for the Terran player, Vipers are going to be pretty tough. It's going to require some pretty good unit control. It's interesting that even off this fairly poor economy, the Terran player is making that many units and stuff at a time. I thought I saw something over there for a second. Creep spread's not amazing, but it's it's at least got all of his bases connected here. We'll be going for another base. I do like Starbuck's macro in this game. Not missing a beat. 2-2 happening. Does he have his... Yes, he does have his hive. So 3-3 I would expect. Get started pretty soon. There's no real bank in position for our Zerg player. A couple units over here just to check for stuff. Maxing out on Roach Hydra. He's going to have to get a really good engagement though. +2 attack. +1 armor about to finish for this mech. So if he catches it unsieged, might just flat out win. Catches it sieged, might lose his entire army. And he'll actually be going into Greater Spire. That's not too surprising for me. But MMA's already got a pretty good amount of Vikings out. And he's got a pretty good amount of upgrades for them. +3 attack. Started for that. Now our Zerg player is maxed out. So he's going to have to go and try and do some damage here. The Vipers might be able to grab a few of these tanks. Either Blinding Clouds or just some yoinks. Don't mind me some good yoinks. It's a tough spot. Let's see them Blinding Clouds here. Pretty good Blinding Clouds. Now the thing for Starbuck here is he's just got to do as much damage as possible. He's ahead in a lot of ways. But he's not trading super cost effectively here. Halbad's doing a lot of splash. Tanks in the back getting in a lot of damage. And yeah, this army is just getting mowed. That's what I was talking about by favorable engagements. Now, the Zerg player was maxed, so you kind of have to do something with the army if you're maxed. The problem was, he didn't really necessarily fight in the best spot. So now the Terran player might be able to push out, get some good map position. Looks like he'll be securing this gold base. Zerg player's got his own. We'll see if he can hold on to it. That's the natural push direction of this Terran Mech army. 12 Corruptors will be moving into a Broodlord. It's probably fairly quick, but he doesn't have a big gas bank. So he really needs this Terran player to essentially not move out for a while. Which it's Mech. He did enough damage that it looks like he'll keep the Terran player at home for the time being. Base, very easy to siege, but he's going to need a lot of Corruptors and or Mutas to back up whatever air army he tries to build. Few Zerglings down here are going to try to control this expansion, but already the Terran player is in a great spot. It'd be interesting, it's not practical, but if he did go for a big ball of mutas, like 12 mutas, enough to be able to take on the missile turrets, he can shut down a couple of these bases, I think, pretty good. Very expensive army against, the really well upgraded Vikings and Thors, but just being really agile, I think, might pay him some dividends. A lot of Corruptors out, more Vikings in production, and that's what I was worried about with going for a Broodlord transition, is that he's only got 4 here. He's got some Queens at least for some fusions, but lots of missile turrets going down. This is not going to be an easy siege here for Starbuck. I don't think he's got quite enough units to necessarily deal with this. Thors in the back are going to do great splash. These Corruptors are getting pretty beat up here. Corruptors, if they focus down the siege tanks, these Hydras and stuff, might be able to close the distance a bit. And yeah, that Broodlord transition didn't do much from it all. He's moving back into Roaches. Swarm hosts aren't necessarily a great unit when your opponent's got like a huge sick composition, but at least it kind of keeps them pinned. This is a planetary in about 30 seconds. So we got about 20 seconds. So he's got a clock to come down here and kill this. Looks like he will be able to, no problem. 3-3 is finished up for this ranged army. Ultralisk Cavern on the way. And a lot of people like to say that Ultralisk is a really big counter to the Terran Mech. I don't know. Like, when you have really well upgraded Thors and tanks, if you don't catch the Terran out in the open, like, you just lose Thors so fast. And these chokes, I don't know if Thors would be the right answer. At least he's making more Queens. Them fusions on the Mech, on the Ultralisk can sometimes break Mech. I don't mind that too much. But MMA is in a pretty good spot. He's got so many bases up. I mean, he hasn't been able to do anything. I'm surprised the Ultralisk Cavern's there. He hasn't been able to do anything against his opponent for a while, though. Tanks are not sieged. But this whole bio army is about to just get trounced here. Well, he'll get a bunch of tanks at least. He's trying to be as cost effective as possible. I don't know if he's going to be able to stop this planetary though. We'll see. He's going to try. He'll actually force the lift on it. He'll grab himself a little bit more damage on the way out. But Starbuck's remaxing right again on the Ultralisks. He's taken all of his bases, and the problem is if the Terran player just holds out and keeps trading cost effectively, eventually Zerg player is going to mine out. Planetaries in good spots. That tank must feel really nice and cozy in there. So MMA, this is, a lot of people find this kind of mech play boring because it's so defensive, it's so slow and methodical, but it's strategic. It means you have to play really smart and patiently. Little hit squads, not super effective. Looks like the planetary did finally get down this time. Lots of defenses in place for that. Another spire going down, so it might be on to do really huge Zerg air. And I don't know if that's going to work against this just amazingly upgraded Terran army. Ultralisks are coming in. Transfusions are happening, but it's just not a great angle of attack here. Vipers get munched. And all these queens might go down right now. They're not going to do much damage. Yeah, down go the queens. More stack defenses on the way. Wow, he did actually get the command center. I didn't even notice he did that. The funny thing is I don't know how much that really matters to our buddy here, MMA's. His income's not massive compared to the Zerg player, but he still has 4 active bases, and he can move one of his command centers over. All these spore crawlers out are a little bit more indicative of swarm host play. There's 22 swarm hosts. Oh man. Finally, the Terran player is able to put on some offense here. That's so many swarm hosts. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Is Enduring Locusts finished though? Did anybody else check? I don't even know if that's... Ultralisks did not get that base down there. I was just checking to see. Now the problem is that you really want to have a good amount of... Where's the rest of the swarm hosts? That wasn't all of them, was it? A good chunk. How many does he have in total? He's got 22, and that's not all of them. These Ultralisks might actually get this base. How sick would that be? It's 1 Ultra. And he is going to get it. Wow. A little surprising. Vikings did land to deal with this. Swarm host, locusts, fully upgraded. And you see the smart thing that the Zerg player is doing, and I give other Zerg players this advice. Your locusts, if they're on attack move, will sometimes just stop firing. But if you run them past the army, you can get the splash damage from the tanks to sometimes do more damage to friendly units. More and more tanks on the way. Vikings are actually killing off all the overlords. It's a huge supply block going on for Starbuck right now. We finally got a little bit of anti-air out now. I've done this a couple times in late games against Zerg players. It's fun. Swarmhost a little spread all over hell here. He's got to get these a little bit more organized. Sure, everybody's not too sad about trading off a bit of supply. Lots of... Boy, he's going to lose every single one of them. He's actually got a couple... See, he burrowed them all at once. When you're actually making larvae, you can actually put them on the control group as their larvae. But the problem is now is that he's got them all spread everywhere. Whereas if these guys are actually shooting along the south, you might be able to deny this attack a little bit more. So these swarm hosts kind of, yeah, I was about to say, he's going to do something with these guys. They're not really being super effective right now. Might get another base denied. This one's under construction. It's actually finished. Lots and lots and lots of Vipers. Back mining again here. Terran player's actually going to be mined on his gold here pretty fast. big pile of locusts flying across here. Some ultras and hydra still kicking around. I don't think he has enduring locusts. He doesn't actually have the enduring locusts. I mean, it's not costing him too badly right yet because he's got him close enough to the action. But having them just last, you know, those extra seconds can be a big difference sometimes. Finally, we do have some ravens out. Ravens so critical to dealing with this mass swarmo style play. He might be able to bust in here. We're gonna have to see some good micro on these swarm hosts. Pop, is he gonna move? He can micro those. No, he's gonna lose at least 2, 3. That swarm host is just gonna be a total reject. Get destroyed. More ultras and lings. Lings aren't a bad idea. They'll move fast enough to get on top of these tanks. With the next burst of locusts, we might see them go in here now. And they die almost immediately because they went in just before the locusts did. Now both these guys are getting pretty beat up. MMA's got a bit of a mineral bank, but he's losing his very, very expensive mech army. He is expanding behind this though. So I mean, yeah, they're not fighting on the best of terms here, but MMA's still got a really sick economy. 49 kills on that tank. Not too shabby. Wow, what do you do now? I would like to see these locusts, yeah, be a little bit more active, get that creep moving and start pressuring some bases. Should get that enduring locust at some point. He can afford it just barely. +1 flyer attack as well. Maybe we'll see a big time tech switch here in the next little bit. Now this, wow, this is a pretty good little flank here from MMA. This is enough army down here with the planetary to hold off some of the locust play. He should fire and uproot and move home to defend, in my professional StarCraft opinion. These locusts just aren't lasting long enough to get in here. He might get flanked big time if he's not paying attention. Looks like he does finally notice. Oh, yes. So both these players have pretty much all the upgrades they need. Like the run by here, getting a little bit of damage in. This base is essentially mined out. So this might go to a late game where both these guys essentially mine out the map. Good transfusions here, actually keeping the Ultralisks alive. You should be able to get this. One Ultralisk is focusing down. Oh, whoa, he actually pulled his swarm hosts actually, so he won't lose them all. Which is important. Now he would not be able to afford to replace those if he lost them in this engagement. Should pull them back again. They are pretty naked out here. There we go. Moving that there creep. He's got some stack defense over here as well. But no locust. He finally realizes he didn't get his enduring locust. That's hilarious. Well, at least he noticed eventually, right? This is kind of, I think, where a lot of this game is going to be decided, is right down here on this side of things. Hydra's trying to snipe from the low ground. Tanks are not focusing on the economy, at least. There they go. Now they'll start shooting drones in the face. The Ultralisks got a little separated from the locusts, and they get slaughtered. What the north side of this is going to get busted down. 3 Ravens at a time. Ravens are that late game unit you want. Both these guys are pretty stuck when it comes to economy. They've lined out so much. But we can see that our Zerg player seems to be in a little bit of worse position. Does need to maybe consider getting that base down again. Losing this base is just terrible though. He mined out a lot of the map really quickly. More command centers, more ravens, more hellbats. Pretty good composition. He's going to try attacking from a different side here. We'll get a couple of units from the looks of it. But he's right next to the army. Oh, good. He's got a few units in his entourage to help deal with that. And Starbuck is going to GG. And I can't blame him. He's essentially starved out. The Terran players are not going to be braked at this point. I think he had a lot of opportunities to win that game. But still, well played by MMA. SeKo Starcraft, thanks everybody for watching. We'll talk with you later.